Okay, let's talk about something that, let's be honest, can be one of the toughest jobs on the planet, parenting. We're going to dive into a method that promises to make things a whole lot simpler. This is all about the book 1-2-3 Magic, a discipline system for kids from about 2 to 12 created by psychologist Dr. Thomas Phelan. The big idea? Way less yelling, a lot more peace, and a much happier home.
Wow, does this sound familiar or what? This little back and forth, the negotiation, it feels less like a simple question and more like a high-stakes debate, right? It's absolutely exhausting. The book kicks off with this exact scene because it perfectly captures how quickly a simple no can just completely spiral out of control. You know those mornings where you just want to pull the covers back over your head? Dreading the battles you know are coming over breakfast or homework or just getting shoes on? If you've ever felt that way, I promise you, you are in very, very good company. It can be an incredibly frustrating and draining job. And that's really the key takeaway here. That feeling of frustration, it's not because you're failing as a parent. It's usually because you're using the wrong tools for the job. Dr. Phelan basically says, look, there's a straightforward system that can totally flip the script and change the whole vibe in your house.
So before we get to the solution, we've got to understand the problem. According to the whole 1-2-3 Magic philosophy, most of our day-to-day discipline struggles really boil down to two super common and, honestly, very understandable mistakes.
And here they are. First up, too much talking. We explain, we reason, we give these long lectures, but a kid who's already upset just isn't listening. It just becomes noise that confuses them. And second, too much emotion. When we get all worked up, when we yell and show how frustrated we are, it can seriously backfire. For a little kid, getting a huge emotional reaction out of a big adult, well, that can feel pretty powerful. It actually reinforces the exact thing you're trying to stop.
Okay, so why do we even make those two mistakes in the first place? Well, it turns out it comes from this one single, deeply flawed idea that many of us have about our own kids. This is it. It's called the little adult assumption. It's this quiet belief that our kids are basically logical little people, and if we just explain things to them clearly, they'll see the light and behave. But the book argues that's completely backward. Kids aren't born reasonable, they're born selfish. And hey, that's not a criticism, it's just their default setting. Our job as parents is to be their guide, to patiently and consistently teach them how to handle frustration and control themselves.
Seriously. This is at the heart of so many parenting failures. We look at our kids and we just want to believe they see the world the same way we do. But trying to reason with a 4-year-old in the middle of a full-blown tantrum, it's like trying to have a calm, logical debate with a hurricane. It just doesn't work. And realizing this is a game changer because it saves you so much energy. You stop wasting your breath on arguments that are going nowhere. And you can see how this one flawed idea leads us down a pretty slippery slope. What the book calls the talk, persuade, argue, yell, hit syndrome. It all starts with good intentions, right? We talk. But when that doesn't work, we get more and more frustrated and we escalate and escalate until suddenly we find ourselves doing things we swore we would never, ever do.
Okay, so if that's the problem, what's the new way forward? Well, 1-2-3 Magic is all about a new philosophy, one that's built entirely on balance.
And this image of the scales, it is the perfect visual for it. This isn't about being a super cuddly pushover or a rigid drill sergeant. The most effective parenting happens when you hold two things that seem like opposites in perfect balance. So think about it like this. On one side of the scale, you've got warm and friendly. That's all the love, the snuggles, the listening, the fun. But on the other side, you absolutely need demanding and firm. That's where you have clear rules and high expectations. The real secret sauce isn't picking one side. It's realizing they're not opposites at all. They're two sides of the same coin, and you need both to raise great kids.
So, how do you actually do this? How do you put this balanced philosophy into action day to day? Well, the book makes it way less overwhelming by breaking down the huge job of being a parent into a simple 3-part job description.
That's it, not 37, just 3. When you frame it this way, it cuts through all the noise and suddenly this massive role feels, well, it feels manageable.
Here they are. Job 1 is simply stopping the bad stuff, the whining, the arguing, all that nonsense. Job 2 is all about encouraging the good stuff, like cleaning their room or being polite. And job 3 is about building that strong, positive connection with them. But here's the absolute kicker. You can't really do a good job with 2 and 3 if your house is in total chaos from job 1. You have to get that obnoxious behavior under control first. It's the foundation for everything else. So let's zoom in on job number 1. This deals with what the book calls stop behavior. Basically, think of anything you want your kid to stop doing right this second. This is the annoying, frustrating stuff that by 5 p.m. can make you feel like you're losing your mind.
Now, job number 2 is the flip side. This is all about start behavior. These are the good, productive things you want your child to start doing. We're talking about things that take time and effort, like getting ready for bed or doing their homework without a fight.
And you might be wondering, okay, why split hairs? Why does this distinction even matter? Well, it matters a lot, because it's all about the effort involved. See, a kid can stop whining in an instant. It's like flipping a switch. But cleaning their room, that takes time, focus, and real effort. It's more like growing a plant. And because they're so different, you need completely different tools to manage them.
So for this explainer, we're going to zero in on that first, and maybe most urgent, job, getting a handle on that obnoxious behavior. And the tool for this is, well, it's almost ridiculously simple.
Remember those 2 big parenting mistakes we talked about? Too much talking and too much emotion? Well, the main technique for stop behaviors is specifically designed to get rid of both of them. It's calm, it's quiet, and it's incredibly effective.
And here it is. This is the heart of 1-2-3 magic. When your child starts a stop behavior, let's say they're whining, you don't argue, you don't explain. You just look at them, hold up one finger and say calmly, that's 1. That's it. If the behavior continues, you hold up 2 fingers and say, that's 2. If you get to 3, that means a short, simple, prearranged consequence, like a 5-minute timeout. The entire thing is done, no yelling, no emotion. Just a simple, clear, and totally consistent system.
So the final thought here is a really powerful one. Just for a second, picture your typical day. Now imagine taking out all the yelling, all the negotiating, all the long, draining lectures, and replacing all of that with just a simple, quiet count. That peace, that calm effectiveness, that's the promise of 1-2-3 magic.